big fear down here is running out of fuel because of Straits of Hormuz and all of that. And, the crude that is refined and the refined product we buy comes from that part of the world. I also noticed there's some other pipeline. I'm wondering if it's an alternative route for oil to come out of the region through, is it Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
And that's quite crucial. Could you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned, the Gulf energy infrastructures are really seriously at risk. And we saw that on Monday as well, with Iran striking two pumping stations from the Habshan-Fujairah pipeline in the United Arab Emirates. So these are basically, it's a pipeline that runs between Abu Dhabi and the deep port of Fujairah. And the idea when it was built by ADNOC, the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, it was really to provide a mean to bypass the Strait of Hormuz and still being able to sell and to export their oil via the Indian Ocean, if you will, on the other side of Dubai, on the other coast, which gives to the Indian Ocean. So if you look at the map, it's very clear that there's only two roads, whether you go by the sea and you got to face the Strait of Hormuz, or if you want to avoid that, you have a pipeline that gives onto the Indian Oceans. And we have now satellite images confirmation that pumping stations have been targeted. So what the Iranians are doing here is very, very strategic. What they're saying is that the Gulf is starting to build up this kind of idea that there are options. We can see story coming out of Saudi Arabia saying that, oh, we can put, 7 million barrels per day through our pipeline into the Red Sea. And then the other side is now, the Abu Dhabi and the UAE saying, well, we have our pipeline there. We can bypass the ports of Hormuz, so we can survive without Hormuz. That's the kind of lingo that's been developed over the past few days. Unfortunately, now, I think we're quite clear that Iran is understanding that and is putting a stop very precisely and targeting this pumping station. That's mean no more oil from Abu Dhabi is going to the Indian Ocean. And that is basically what we call killing the option. And that's exactly what they did. They killed that option. And that's what Iran does. It's not interesting in hitting hundreds of buildings and towers in Abu Dhabi or in Dubai. They're just going to kill the market, the energy, the revenue streams from these particular Gulf states. And that's by hitting any options they may have to sell their product outside the Strait of Hormuz scenario.